Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Micah and this is going to be my bronzer ranking video. You've been loving these ranking videos and I really enjoy doing them. So today we're going to go through my entire bronzer collection and I'm going to be ranking each one of them. So before we get into the video, I do want to point out something because in my previous video, some people didn't understand, like, hey, if this isn't your favorite, why didn't you end up decluttering it? All of the products I have here, I like. If I really don't like it, then I will say that in this video, but most of these products have been kept in my collection after a declutter. So these are the products and I'm just ranking them from my top favorite to maybe I could do without that. And sometimes that's because I've had it for some time, or maybe I haven't used it enough yet, or maybe it's a product that has a very specific use for me that I don't reach for a whole lot because of that. But sort of like the workhorses of my bronzer collection are definitely going to be towards the top. So we're just going to start at the bottom and let's get started. So we're near like a rounded number. I have 19 bronzers in total. I've included a couple of like cream contour things. These are all singles. Anything that is in like a palette or like together with a highlighter, I did not put into the equation here. I think I will do a separate video where I can rank, for instance, all of my face palettes if that's something you're interested in seeing. So all the way at the bottom would be this. This is the Catrice Sheer Serum Bronzer. This was from a limited edition collection and it is a very pretty product, but it's a little bit dark for me. So this mainly only works for me in the summertime and that's why I just don't reach for it a whole lot. It's a cream product. I think this is about to expire very soon. So this is definitely on the chopping block, but I use this in a full face of Catrice video not too long ago, actually. I think I did that last year and I fell back in love with this product because it was such a great one. But it is a little bit dark and because it's a liquid, you do have to be very careful with how much you apply. So it's a bit of a faff to use this, which is why it goes all the way at the bottom. Also at the bottom is another Catrice bronzer. Catrice bronzers just aren't my favorite. This is the Catrice Triangle Artist Contour Stick. This is in the shade 020 Ashy Brown. And this is the only cream contour I own. And it's a contour stick. And it was really crazy because this is one of those products that on camera, you don't really see very well, but in real life, this shows up well. It blends out perfectly. If I want to go contouring, I think I'll reach for this stick a lot more quickly, but I'm currently not really into contouring. So that's why this is sort of like lying about for the day where I do want to have a bit of a contour. But again, since it's a cream product, I do need to keep an eye on it because this might expire very soon. A product that's towards the bottom, not because I don't like it, but because I have no thoughts on it because I haven't used it yet, is this bronzer by number 7. This is in the shade Golden Sand, I think. Yeah, Golden Sand. And this is the lightest shade that they do. And I bought this in London in March, but I think it's a little bit too light for me right now. So I'm sort of hanging on to this because I'm looking forward to using this when I'm a bit paler in like the winter time. A product that's also at the bottom, and not because I don't like it, but because I've sort of stopped using because I bought another product from this brand that I now prefer, and that is Hourglass. This is one of their ambient lighting powders. So this is not one of their bronzers. This is just a powder in their darker shade. This is in Radiant Light. And on me, this is a gorgeous all over glowy bronzer. It just is. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous product. But now that I actually own an Hourglass bronzer, I find I no longer reach for this a whole lot. So maybe, like, I still have this. Everybody was telling me in my declutter, like, don't get rid of it, don't get rid of it. I haven't gotten rid of it. I still have it. I still love it. I really, really do. I just don't use it a lot. A product that is currently in my shop, my stash, and that I did put towards the bottom because of the format it comes in, that is the Bouncy Bronzer by Catrice. This is a jelly, bouncy sort of thing. It's a bit weird. And it looks, when you swatch this, it looks like an eyeshadow. It looks like a bronzy, shimmery eyeshadow. When I first tried this, I was like, oh no, this is gonna go bad. This is not gonna go down very well. And then I tried it on with a bit of a stipple brush, and oh my, it was the perfect glowy bronzer. So that's why I put it in my Shop My Stash this month, because I wanted to try it a bit more, because it's like one of those really perfect summertime bronzy glow products. Again, because of the format, it's a bit of a faff to use, which is why it's towards the bottom, but I do really like this little thing. Now this next one may come as a bit of a surprise to you. Anastasia Beverly Hills. They make lovely eyeshadow palettes. They make lovely liquid lipsticks, in my opinion. They make lovely highlighters too. But their bronzer formula, I'm a bit on the fence about actually. This is in the shade Rosewood, and the shade of this is absolutely perfect. I just have a bit of an issue with the formula of this. So the formula of this is a little bit weird. It's quite powdery, and I feel it's kind of grabs onto different parts of my face. So I feel this looks a little bit muddy, and it's very difficult to blend out. You need to use a very light hand with this and only like dip your brush in like that, and then you already have plenty of product there. So this will last me ages. I know that, and the shade of this is really, really pretty and unique, so I will definitely be reaching for this. It's just because of the formula, it's a bit difficult to use, and I have other bronzers that I can just like boop, 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 slap on and don't worry about it. And with this, I always have to be a little bit careful. Perhaps another surprise, because this is definitely a cult favorite. This is the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil, and I bought this after I saw Lisa Eldridge talk about this being a really nice bronzer for fair skin. It is. However, on me, like the Anastasia, it grabs onto patches. It doesn't blend out very seamlessly. I'm not sure what it is. This just doesn't really mesh very well with either my application technique. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong. That's of course another thing that can happen. But as you can see, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's a nice little round dip right there in the middle. And that's because I ended up using this as a contour. And it works really well on me as a contour. And back when I had my contouring phase, these two products, the Hourglass Radiant Light and the Milk Chocolate Soleil, was my perfect combination. So these have gotten a lot of love, a lot of use, and I will definitely keep them around because I do like that look. It's just at the moment, I'm not really into contouring, but if I want to go back into it, then I know that I have a perfect pairing in those two products. So the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil is definitely a good one, but not as a bronzer, but as a contour. Now, a product that I like, this is a bit of a weird one because this can be a blush or a bronzer depending on what you like. I know that some people really like using not an actual blush color, but more like a bronzer type, and then this can be really nice. This is the Balm Desert, and this is supposed to be a long-wearing bronzer slash blush, and this is how I found out that I like bronzers with a pinky reddish undertone in the summertime. I love this as like a subtle bronzer in the summertime. I don't always go for subtle bronzers in the summertime though. I like a little bit more bronzer in the summertime than this will give me. But this is really nice for that like transitional weather in the fall time when I'm a little bit more like, I still have a bit of that summertime glow, but it's sort of starting to fade away. Then this is a really nice product to use. So very specific use there, but it's definitely a good one. Also highly specific in my collection is the Urban Decay Beach Bronzer. This is in the shade Sunkissed. This is their lightest shade, and look at that red undertone. If you want to look bronzed as if you have been out in the sun and you caught a bit of sun and you have that reddish skin from a sunburn, then this will give you that look. And on me, I find it looks really, really stunning in like the height of summer. Like in August, I will probably pull this into my Shop My Stash because that's when I feel this works really, really well for me. I have a very, very red skin when I do burn. Like I have a bit of a sunburn from the other day still. I was out without wearing sunscreen, which you shouldn't do, people, but as you can see, I get a very red tinge to my skin when I do burn. So that's why this works really well for me. It's a bit dark and intense, so it's definitely not something that I like to use year round, but in the summertime, I love this. Now, I'm not a big fan of glowy bronzers, which is why the glowy products are mostly in like the bottom part of this bronzer collection. But I do love me a bit of Too Faced Sweethearts bronzer. This is in the shade Sweet Tea, and this has two shades. One of them has a bit more shimmer, I feel, like a little bit more of a glow, and the other one is a bit darker, a bit more golden. Again, in the summertime, this is really pretty if you want to go for that nice, glowy, all-over bronze. Again, not something I do all the time, but if I want to go for that super intense, glowy bronze look, this is it. And now we're getting into favorites territory. I feel a bit embarrassed because I have like 9 favorite bronzers. These were very difficult to rank, let me just say that much. A very good standard bronzer, like this can go year-round, every single day. I don't have to worry about it. And that is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Nude Bronze Light. And as you can see, this is very fair. So this works really well on me, but in the summertime, it may be a bit too light. So right now it's not the best, but especially in the winter and like fall transitioning weather, this works really well. And I already mentioned how that has replaced my ambient lighting powder and radiant light, which is what I was using before. I do feel this has more of a glow than this does. Like this has a little less of like a shine to it, whereas this one has a bit more of a glow. So I think that that's also the reason why I prefer the actual bronzer over this powder one, because as I already mentioned, I'm not really into glowy bronzers all that much. You will be surprised to see that there are quite a few drugstore options in here. I struggled so much finding good bronzers at the drugstore. So there are only a few high-end bronzers in this top selection of mine, and one of them is Becca, and this is their Sunlit Bronzer in Bali Sands. Kelly Gooch found out that this is a dupe for Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, that this shade is very similar, and I would have to agree that's definitely the case. I do feel that this blends a little bit more nicely. The shade of this is a little bit more bronzy, I would say. I think the Physicians Formula one is a little bit more cool toned, and I do really like this. This comes in a ton of shades. It just doesn't come with a whole lot of product though. Let me see. This only comes with 7 grams of product. So I think that if you're looking for a bronzer to pan quickly, that this could be a contender there, because it's just not a whole lot of product, which is why I sort of put it at the bottom end of my favorites, because it's a really nice product, but most bronzers come with 10 grams of product. So why doesn't this? Because this is expensive. A longtime favorite and a brand that not enough people talk about is H&M Beauty. This is their Solar Flare Bronzing Powder in Sheer Tan. So this is what Sheer Tan looks like. And Sheer Tan is one of my OG favorite bronzers. And as you can see, the packaging is all gross. This is one that I used so much, and this was one of the first bronzers I tried that I really loved. This is a really nice standard everyday bronzer. You can use this year-round. It also comes in a ton of shades, so that's good to know as well. But I'm not sure whether they still do this particular shade, because H&M does change up their line a little bit, and not all of the shades are always the same then. So, and I've had this for quite some time, so I'm not sure, because I bought this when they first launched actually. So this is a really stunning bronzer, and more people should give H&M credit for their bronzer selection, because it's actually really good. Another drugstore bronzer that I love is the Solar Powder Bronzer by Soap & Glory. Mine sadly has developed a little bit of heart pan on this side of the bronzer, so I feel it wasn't wearing down as much anymore. So I may need to get a new one of this. But I do have to say that I concentrate my brush more in the other side here. This is a great bronzer for the springtime, mainly for me. That's when I go for this. I'm not even sure why. And this has a really big dip in it as well. Like, this is one of those things where I'm like, maybe I should scrape the top off and see if I can use it a bit more. This is a really, really stunning bronzer. Of course, Soap & Glory makeup can be difficult to find because it's not available everywhere. But if you are in London and get yourself to Boots, find this bronzer. If you're my skin tone, it will work really well for you. And of course, where would we be without Physicians Formula's Butter Bronzer? It's a bit higher up the list than the Becca, not because it's not as good, but because this just has more product. This can take ages to pan. You do need to be a bit of a fan of the scent. I do have to say, not everybody likes that tropical, sunscreeny kind of smell. I don't mind it personally, I really don't. This is a really, really nice bronzer, and I've definitely been working on mine. Like, some of the pattern is already starting to wear down. I don't think I will be reusing this up anytime soon, but this is such a nice, subtle, everyday bronzer again, and it's a really good option. If you're in Europe and you can't get your hands on Physicians Formula, definitely check out Amazon. They have it, but I got mine from iHerb, which is an American website that ships to Europe, and you don't have to pay a lot of shipping actually. So that's a good tip. If you're looking for that product, try iHerb. We're down to the top 4. Benefits Hoola Light is in the number 4 spot. This is the one that I was so happy when they came out with this. Hoola was always a bit too dark for me. It doesn't really work very well. And in the winter time, this is a stunning, stunning bronzer. I go back to this all the time. I'm so happy they came out with a lighter shade. It's also not super like orangey. It actually has a bit of a yellow undertone. So where I kind of enjoy reddish, pinkish undertones in the summertime, in the wintertime, I prefer a more yellow undertone. And I find I had such a hard time finding bronzers that worked for me when I'm at my palest, but this works. So that's great. And why is my hair stuck to the packaging? Another bronzer that fits into the same vein as the Hoola Light is my Makeup Forever bronzer. This is the Bronze Pro Fusion in the shade 20M? Yes, 20M. And this is not the lightest shade in their line, but this has a very nice, more yellowy undertone. It looks quite dark in the pan, but it sheers out so nicely. And this is one of those bronzers that has a gel to powder kind of formula, a bit like the Anastasia highlighters and also the Dior ones. This is also, I think, the only Makeup Forever product I own, and I absolutely adore this. Like the Hoola Light, I love this in the winter time. This was the kind of bronzer that I had been waiting for such a long time. When I'm at my fairest, this is pretty much the only thing that works. And then top 2 bronzers. Top 2. Number 2, Take Home the Bronze by The Balm. I have mine in the shade Oliver. This is what it looks like. This is such a stunning bronzer, and again, I used this a lot fall last year. Again, it has a bit of a pinky reddish undertone. Let me show you this next to Balm Desert, because you will see that Balm Desert is definitely lighter and a bit more pink, whereas this is a bit more red, I feel anyways. As you can see that the undertone of these is very different. Like this works as a blush, but this wouldn't, I feel. And this is definitely purely a bronzer. I think I could even get away with contouring with this one, but this blends so nicely. It works so well. I like the packaging of this, like this whole like Oscars award ceremony inspired packaging, which is of course what they were doing before, and then they had to change the names. They definitely do a good job, and I love the Balm's packaging because it's also very slim and very easy to use. So the Take Home the Bronze bronzer is one of my favorites. And then a very bold choice, but my number 1 spot has to go to the new Maybelline City Bronzer. This is in the shade Medium Warm, which I was afraid was going to be much too dark for me. And I've been using this bronzer for 2 months straight. Like, I don't want to reach for any other bronzer at the moment. So this is not just the top 1 spot for me because it's the last product I've tried. I haven't tried a bronzer from the drugstore that's this nice. I'm wearing it today. I think it works really well with my skin tone. It blends really nicely. It's not too dark. It ticks all the boxes for me. I do have to say that it is perhaps a little bit dark for me when I'm at my fairest, but then I have all those other options. So this is definitely a really good one for like spring, summer, fall. And then the other ones I just need for the winter time because I go so pale that this I don't think will work, but I will definitely be enjoying this for a little while longer. But as I mentioned, I may need to pull in some of my other bronzers next month because then I will hopefully have a bit more of a tan because summer is here. So there you have it. Those are all of my bronzers ranked from my least favorite to my favorite. And yeah, I don't have as many bronzers as I have blush or highlight, but now that I have it all here, I'm like, oh, I have a lot more bronzer than I thought I did. It's definitely a category that I've invested in. I actually have one bronzer on my wish list at the moment, which is the Fenty bronzer. That is one I really want to try. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you very much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos by me. I make new videos 3 times a week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And for now, thank you very much for being here. I hope to see you in my next video. I hope you have a really great day. Bye!